Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Circling Seattle Sports. This is Instant Reaction, Game 2 of 82. So we're on good track. We're keeping up with these, like I hope we would. Unfortunately, in these first two games of the Seattle Kraken season, they are 0-2. It's been a tough opening stretch so far for Seattle. Three-game road trip to begin the season. That's not why it's been tough necessarily. I mean, you could definitely there have been positives out of these first two games. We'll start with that. There have been positives out of these first two games. Obviously, as you can see, nope, wrong side on your score here. Seattle gets shut out in Nashville. Yusei Saros for the Predators has an excellent game in net for Nashville. He's going to be a tough goalie to get one behind any time, any night. But especially tonight, he was on his game. The Predators defensemen and their skaters as a whole are doing a great job of blocking shots, filling lanes, and making it even more tough for the Kraken to get on the board. But just in this one, missed opportunities again, and frustrations kind of festered after the Predators got a shorthanded goal in the second period. Seattle continues to struggle on the power play. But in this one, just the shot quality wasn't great. Seattle had 35% shot quality generated in tonight's game. They had a few chances. There was one late that hit the post or hit the pipe. I'm used to soccer with the post and such. Um, just a tough one. I mean, you look at these things, and first and foremost, there's a lot of negativity going around, whether that be cracking Twitter. I don't want to touch Facebook. I don't usually look at Facebook groups because that's just where people who usually don't know what they're talking about are kind of spewing misinformation and things that aren't correct. It's been tough. Obviously, Seattle last year, a team that generated the most 5-on-5 goals in all of the NHL. Really, the depth came in waves for the Kraken. That was their big strength, was the depth that they had with the forward lines. They were able to get production from the defensemen as well. Right now, they're just not getting that. They've got one goal between the two games that they've played so far. They have played two tough teams on the road in Vegas, and obviously the Nashville Predators tonight. But that shouldn't be an excuse for only having one goal between those two. Um, in the there's similarities in the Vegas and the Nashville games here. Just frustrating that in Nashville one, to not score at all, to not give your goaltender any sort of support, and really just not look as good offensively. Yanni Gord post game talked about execution and kind of rushing things. So what he saw, at least, and Jaden Schwartz talked about not having enough zone time, which sure, uh, sure. I just feel like they had a couple stretches of zone time where they really hemmed in Nashville and they weren't able to get a score. McDonough for the Predators had a few blocks on a power play, which was ridiculous. The power play continues to struggle, so we'll touch on that. As you can see, the power play goes 0 for 2 tonight, so it's 0 for 6 on the season as a whole, which is not great. That was such a big topic of discussion for the entirety of last season, going into the offseason, and now coming into this season, and it's still not found it yet. That second power play that Seattle got with 4 minutes and 24 seconds into the third period, it looked good. It looked really good, and Seattle had a sustained amount of time excuse me, on that power play where they kept Nashville's kill on the ice. They looked gassed. Saros made a couple big saves. McDonough made a couple big blocks, uh, and Nashville was able to wipe that away. In the power play earlier in the game that Seattle got, it didn't even really look like Seattle's power play. It looked more like Nashville's power play with how much of the possession of the puck that they had. Nashville had a couple times where they were able to leak out and almost get a shot on Philip Grubauer, who was excellent. We'll get to his game here in a second. But the Predators just they dominated that power play for Seattle and ended up getting a shorthanded goal. Um, it was Cody Seasons. Colton Seasons. My apologies, Colton. Um, Gets a short. That one was tough. Oliver Bjorkstrand kind of didn't realize some of the play around him. He had a lazy pass back to the point that got away. Seasons had a breakaway and was able to beat Grubauer, and things kind of spiraled from that point. Um, Seattle looked frustrated at times. There was one in particular where Adam Larson kind of got hit. took a hit that maybe should have been called as a foul. Got bloodied up, didn't get the call. Vince Dunn kind of tried to get his get some get back from it. Nashville goes on the power play, and it did, frustrations were obvious in this game for Seattle. Larson was upset. Vince Dunn was upset there. Understandably so. Your D partner gets hit, and if you're Larson, you get hit. But you could tell that maybe things were being pressed a little bit in this game for Seattle. So that's not going to help you. Obviously, you got guys who are trying to get back into a rhythm. This team trying to get back into, that offensive form that had waves and waves of talent. Um, there are people talking about Donato and Morgan Geeky and Daniel Sprong. I don't think those guys are factoring into this game that much necessarily. Sure, maybe, but I think calling for them right now is a little bit ridiculous. Um, it's just yeah, it's a thing where yeah, I thought that was silly. Um, and the power play, yeah, the power play. Oh, it's very night and day with the two power plays that Seattle had tonight. Um, like I mentioned, that first one, Nashville had the puck for it felt like more of the time than Seattle did, and the second one looked good. They just weren't able to actually have it beat Saros, which again, he is a good goalie. We've seen this before. He's played excellent. He's one of the better goalies in all the NHL. He plays great tonight. Seattle's not able to solve him. They get shut out. Nashville wins their home opener as a result of this. Seattle will end up playing 4 home openers in a row because they played in Vegas when Vegas had their home opener. This one tonight, St. Louis will play their home opener against Seattle on Saturday, and then Tuesday will be the Kraken's home opener in Climate Pledge Arena against the Colorado Avalanche. So kind of weird. Um, I don't know. Yes, positive things on that second power play. The first one, not so much at all. Um, just to go back on the offensive side of things, though, and I don't pick Ellie Tolvanen here for any particular reason, just kind of more so his expression. I apologize. That light is flickering. Not the great time, not the best time for that. Um, yeah, so the shot quality just wasn't great. Kind of been looking, at least in this game, when you're trying to beat Saros, you're looking for guys up net front, that net front presence. Kyler Yamamoto has been great for that in his career. You just really weren't able to get that. You didn't see a lot of that in this game. And if you did, it was minuscule, and Saros was able to wipe out the rebound before it even happened. Um, so just really tough for that. I don't know if there's too much you'd change. I don't know if it's time to change up the lines. I think it's too early for that. Again, there are positives to take out of these games. In the first period, the first period tonight was similar to the first period in Vegas, sans the goal that Vegas got in game 1. That Seattle was flying around. There was good offensive momentum. It really felt like Seattle was knocking on the door. They had 1 expected goal in that first period, compared to Nashville, though, who had point 0.9. So they were pressing as well. But Seattle, obviously, with the advantage numbers wise there, they looked good in that first period. That second period was a complete turnaround, complete 180 of that. They looked dominated. That power play, as I said, after that shorthanded goal, things changed. Things changed on their head. Um, and in the third period, just struggle time. That third goal comes off an empty netter. So just all around frustrating for the offense right now. I don't think they're that far off. I truthfully don't think they're that far off. But it's tough for some of these guys. Brandon Tanev was not in today. In case you didn't see our social media post, and I'll run our social media banner here at the bottom. But uh, where was I? Yeah, Tanev and morning skate. All that Coach Dave Haxtell said was that he didn't have an update on Tanev, but he wasn't going to be in the lineup tonight, and he wasn't. Ty Cartier slotted in for Tanev on that line with Belmar and Kyler Yamamoto. That fourth line looked good. They were buzzing around in that first period, like most of the team, and then again, second period, just everything kind of turned on its head. So that was frustrating. What was not frustrating, though, was the effort of Philip Grubauer tonight, the German gentleman. Shout out to our friend Maya. Maya, best of I almost said best of luck. That's silly. Hope you're doing all right. Grubauer was excellent. I mean, there were so many saves in this one tonight where um, it was kind of like, how are you doing this? All of the get this man some help memes came out tonight, and it's true. He was excellent. He was excellent. We had someone comment on one of our tweets, almost perfect, but not. And I'm like, I get what you're saying. At that point in time, Nashville had scored, but it was just kind of silly. I mean, what you want him to go up and beat Saros for a goal? There was nothing that you could have really blamed Grubauer on tonight. 2.6 goals above expected. 2.6 goals saved above expected. I apologize. So essentially what that means is Nashville should have had 2.6 more goals than they actually scored, but Grubauer's play tonight prevented that sort of thing. 32 saves tonight. Um, 26 to 27 on even strength, 4 for 4 on the power play, 2 for 3 on shorthanded. So a 941 save percentage. Grubauer, excellent tonight. He's been good in both of these two games. The silly mistakes in game one and then the frustrating results in this one make it tough. Make it tough. He hasn't really been able to get the support goal wise. Again, the one goal. So yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough. I guess what I'm gonna take away from this one again, there's positives. Um, Certainly, again, would like to be able to score more. The power play needs to improve, but the offensive generation in the first period looked good. The big problem for me, at least, was how much things turned after that shorthanded goal. They didn't keep their composure. They didn't remain focused. They didn't get back to business after that. Things kind of started to crumble, like a Nature Valley bar. Right after that, it was I guess that light bulb likes Nature Valley. I don't know. Things crumbled like a Nature Valley bar right after that. So yeah, that's frustrating. That's not really something that you see from this team. We don't really see them crumble like that in terms of composure per se. So just really tough. At least when we're looking at the heat map for this game, Seattle kind of, at least in terms of the heat map and attempts, their attempts in tight to Saros were good. That's what you want to do against Saros. Get the greasy goal, the grimy goal against a good goaltender like that. Kind of push one in that just kind of falls in, isn't able to get the rebound in tight, and you're able to handle that before he's able to freeze it down. So in looking at the heat map, they did their job to an extent, but the shot quality needs to be better. Um, the second goal too, we'll get to that. Yeah, the second goal was a little frustrating. Nashville had a delayed penalty off of that's why I mentioned that. Thank you. Sorry. Uh, with Larson taking that hit, being frustrated. Um, see if I can get that. Oh no, they didn't. Okay. Yeah, with Larson and Vince Dunn being upset at the non-call on Larson, Nashville got a delayed penalty, and as a result, the puck was just kind of thrown at the net. Um, with that six man on for Nashville, it bounced off the skate of Adam Larson and into the goal past Grubauer, and that's how the second goal became a thing. So, yeah, frustrating one, a really frustrating result again, but I still see positives in these 2 games that they've played so far. With the offensive generation, less so to an extent in this game in terms of quality, but quantity, sure. Again, with those attempts in tight against not Forsberg, Saros. I almost said Flip Forsberg, not not the right guy. Um, the penalty kill continues. Knock on the woods, please. The penalty I'll knock on my kneecaps. The penalty kill has been excellent once again tonight. What was the penalty kill tonight? I had it. Uh 3 for 3. So last game 4 for 4. So they're 7 for 7 on the year. Knock on the woods again, please. That's pretty good. The penalty kill is good. The generation of chances has been okay so far. Still needs to be better. And Philip Grubauer has been good. I'd be intrigued to see who starts in goal for the Kraken on Saturday. I don't imagine that you run Philip Grubauer 3 games in a row to start the season. It seems a little silly to me. I wouldn't be surprised to see Joey Decord. But if that's the case, if you go Grubauer again on Saturday, you kind of have to go Joey Decord on Tuesday in the home opener, right? So I don't know. Dave Haxel has this reputation where he runs his goalies into the ground in terms of workload, and it unfortunately seems like we're seeing that right now. I hope that's not the case. I hope we're able to find that, you know, balance of things, right? So again, I wanna temper down the negativity, please. We've got people complaining about nicknames on Twitter, talking about trading certain players, and "I didn't like this player from the get-go, but you didn't say anything about it earlier." People are just finding problems because this team has lost 2 games to begin the season, and they're frustrated. I understand being frustrated. It's hard. I like covering wins better than I like covering losses, right? It seems like it makes sense. So I get being frustrated. I get, wanting to see change and wanting to see results instead of, kind of the same thing, at least in terms of power play, the continued failures there. Just trading people is not the answer to that. If we were to just trade anybody, things after a few failures, things would look a lot different in all of sports. So let's calm down. The boys will figure it out. There are some positives to take from these 2 games. It's not like the Edmonton loss the other night that they suffered to Vancouver when it was 8-1. It could have been much worse. These are 2 losses against good teams. Nashville added some pieces in the offseason. UC Saros is an excellent goaltender in the NHL, and we're in their barn. Tough loss. Vegas won the Stanley Cup last year. Uh, they kept most all of their group together. They're still a good team. The difference is you made some mistakes in these 2 games. The other team took advantage and you weren't able to answer. Seattle has to be able to answer. And they've shown that they can do that at least last year. And you need them to get the gears going again. You know, it's early into the season, man. It's 2 games of 82. Let's all calm down. Next game for the Kraken is on Saturday, October 14th. Is that right? Apologize. I know last instant reaction I had it up here. Yeah, Saturday, October 14th. That is a 5 p.m. Pacific time puck drop against the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis is making their home opener that night. We'll see where they're at in this one. They fell to the Dallas Stars in a shootout tonight, 2-1. Wow. Um, mm, 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 mm. Let's see. I apologize. I should have this sort of information for you. Yeah, so they're oh, that was their first game. Ah, okay. So they lose their first game of the year, 2-1 in a shootout to the Dallas Stars. That's a tough. Yeah, so St. Louis doesn't look like there'll be any sort of a pushover either. So anyway, that's instant reactions to game 2 of 82. Again, we'll get better with this as the year goes on. Wanted to get this out quick, kind of digest that game and go forward. But again, there's so much negativity. Trust in the boys, trust in the coaching staff. I'm sure they'll get it turned around. Still got a big game. It's the opening road trip. It's early. The sky is not falling. Anyway, I'll see you next time on Saturday. Take care of yourselves. Be well.